Okay, sorry. I think now it is okay. Good evening, Nikki, Nishtha, everyone. Good evening. Raj, right now I'm audible. Is it audible right now? Okay, fine. See, there is no need to make handwritten notes of dynamic things. First of all, there is no need to make handwritten notes of the dynamic thing which are keep changing and keep changing, because if you are making handwritten notes of that thing, they are time consuming thing. Handwritten notes should be only of those things which are conceptual in nature. Conceptual in nature, and there are the different ways to make you understand the concept, and there are the different ways student do apply to understand the concepts, right? So teachers have their own way, students have their own way, right? For example, periodic table in chemistry, somebody is singing a song, somebody is creating their own kind of the thing. So it's the conceptual thing is a kind of the thing which is required more of your understandability in that regard. So you can go for making a handwritten notes of the conceptual thing. For the dynamic thing, you just do one thing, what? The cut copy paste of the thing, right? Cut copy paste of the thing. Most of the newspapers or most of the things are available on the internet, and you can pile it up one place, create a folder of government schemes, and you can put the relative information there, right? And reading again and again and again, automatically you will find out that these informations are irrelevant and not required. You can eliminate from there, right? So there's no need to go for the Herculean kind of the thing ki all government scheme. How many questions they do ask on the government scheme? 10 to 12 question they are going to ask, and how many you are able to correct out of 10 to 12? How many you are able to correct despite going for the Herculean task? You are able to correct 9 or 10 maximum. What kind of the effort you are going to make? You cannot go for 12 out of 12 if they are going to ask 12. If they are going to ask 10 out of, you are not able to do the 10 out of 10. You are not able to do 12 out of 12. So rather than chase each and everything, rather than trying to chase each and everything, there are the 5 6 ministries, right? And on those 5 6 ministries, they keep asking the scheme related questions every time, right? So these 5 6 ministries and key schemes you have to follow, right? So there is no cut short method for that. The method is what you have to minimize is to 5 to 6 ministry, and under that 5 to 6 ministry you can mention the schemes, and that schemes you can make a short kind of okay, I'll do one thing. See, I don't want to indulge in the scheme part right now. I don't want to indulge. I am currently focusing on the current means this conceptual part. For a schemes related thing, if you have a patience, please hold. I will figure it out how to do it. But if you are worrying each and every time ki how I can do the schemes, I cannot help you. Right? I can help you. I can figure it out what kind of the schemes are being there. I will sort it out, right? And I will give it to you. But you have to be little bit patient, because for that I have to analyze each and everything, and then I'll figure it out and I will give you. So let the announcement have to come, then I will work on it also, the schemes also, that because that is in my mind. I have seen a lot of messages, a lot of questions regarding how to cover the scheme, how to cover the government scheme, how to cover the government scheme, right? So for that, that is in my mind, and I'm in the background I'm working, but right now I cannot make any commitment for that, because once I will make the commitment, you means I have to provide on that day only. So it's not possible for me right now to make a commitment. But let me complete this conceptual part. I will figure it out and I will provide you. Right, and no need to worry too much about that. So please provide your class PDF so that we can revise. Class PDF. Okay. Just give me a second. Just give me a second. Okay. Class PDF regarding. Nikki, I will give the timeline tomorrow. By what time I'm going to give the provide the PDF? Yes, PDF is a serious issue. I'm literally sorry for that. It is getting delayed and delayed. I'll give the timeline tomorrow. I will announce the timeline tomorrow for the PDF, right? And it is not possible because it is going to take some time. So it is not possible in one go. I will provide a class by class or topic wise topic PDF. सी परेशान होने से कुछ नहीं मिलता है यार, सिर्फ परेशानी होती है और आपकी एफिशिएंसी कम होती है बस, ठीक है, और परेशान होने से कुछ नहीं मिलता। आई टेल यू वेरी मींस दिस इज बेस्ड ऑन एक्सपीरियंस। अगर आप ज्यादा परेशान होंगे तो आप ज्यादा लूज करेंगे। आप वर्क पे फोकस करेंगे, देन यू आर गोइंग टू एबल टू अचीव द टारगेट। अगर आप परेशान होके काम करेंगे तो काम भी सही से नहीं होगा और गलतियां भी बहुत सारी करेंगे। यू आर गोइंग टू मेक लॉट ऑफ मिस्टेक्स इफ यू आर गेटिंग वरीड अबाउट ईच एंड एवरीथिंग, राइट? You should be worried. You should work on those things, right? Being worried is not going to give you anything. You are not going to achieve anything if you are worrying too much about the things. You should focus on deliverables which you can make it possible, right? So yes, government scheme is a big issue. Government schemes, okay, I will do this brainstorming on these two issues. One is government schemes and second is PDF. I will make an announcement on this two regard tomorrow. Tomorrow at the time of class, I will make an announcement, or if I will figure it out, I will announce in the Telegram group. So how we can do that thing. Okay. So where we have finished in the last class? Thank you, Yash. Shishnita sir, whatever you say, I'll write important points. But PDF, yes. PDF, I understand. Sir, we are supposed to start the credit rating. Oh, okay, Nishta. Okay. We'll start the credit rating agency promissory notes. We did the promissory notes in the last class, and we have to start with the credit rating agencies. Okay. So we have to start with the credit rating. What is credit rating? See, we will talk about finance later. In the general common way, whenever family is going to search a bride or groom, right? Then they go and ask different people, "Ki we are looking for that, we want to marry our daughter or our son, please let me know, please let me know, please let me know," right? And when you start saying this thing, people will provide you the inputs, right? People will provide the input to the family, ki these are the means people you can approach to them. So once you will approach them, you start informal talks and the formal talks, right? And then you need a kind of assurity, because it's a matter of life of your son and daughter. What parents generally have this feeling, it is a matter of entire life. So they want to get assured, right? Through formally or informally, they want to get some assurance. And for that, they start asking some questions to their relatives, right? Some questions to their neighbors, right? Their financial liabilities, what kind of the things they do have, right? Lot of things. But there is no proper way to get all these things, right? There is no such kind of the portal which is going to give you what complete information, right? And it is highly unlikely ki you went to particular family and you can ask ki beta, I am looking for a groom for my daughter, can you provide me your credit card bills or pan card details so that I can figure it out? So people get offensive, right? People get offensive. So few things are not possible, right? So you cannot ask directly to that person. You cannot ask directly to that person ki tell about your financial assets and liabilities, right? If you are going to say directly, people maybe get offensive, number one, or people are going to give you the false information. So there is a need of a third party, independent third party, who can provide the correct information about that family, right? So in the social parlance, it little bit difficult. In the social parlance, it little bit difficult, because the person who is going to provide, there is a person A, there is a person B. So A want the entire financial information, social status, each and everything about the person B, right? So A have two options. Either he can ask B directly, ki, what is your social status, how many people in your family are in the government job, how many people are in the bank, how many people went jail, right? So such kind of the question you can ask him directly, but if you are going to ask this question directly, maybe he get offended, right? So this is not an appropriate way. So in that case, he needs some an independent person who can provide all this, who can provide all this information about B regarding social status, right? Financial status, family, right? Family, what kind of the family it is. So independent person. But that independent person is not going to do this work without any monetary benefit, right? So what about the monetary benefit? Because for all this information, that independent person have to invest some of his time to collect all the relevant information, right? So collect the relevant information, you have to spend your time. So he is not very interested. So that's why in the society you never find such kind of the people who have good knowledge. But sometimes what happen, there are some independent person who are having good social status or have very good knowledge, right? So from there the input will come, but these inputs are always in the informal way, right? So this is what happen in the society in general. Similarly, when you enter in the financial system, right? Financial system. So when things are in the financial system, things are more formal, more formal in nature, but they are more prone to fraud, right? More prone to fraud. A is interested to lend the money to B, right? A is interested to lend the money to B, and B is also need some funds. But A know that there is a possibility of default. So I just want to know, means how B is capable of returning my money, right? So this kind of information he can ask, B directly ki provide me all relevant information, right? Or he can go to independent person. He can go to the independent person and he can ask about him. B. Again, this independent person is going to do this work for the monetary benefits, right? Monetary benefits. So you have to pay some fees or amount so that he can do this work uh, on your behalf against B, right? So this requirement of a person, independent person or independent group or independent company, was always in demand since the rise of industrial revolution and requirement of finance was rises over the different part of the world, especially in the western world like France, Britain and US. These requirements were raised, right? So it was Henry Poor. Henry Poor, his name was Henry Poor. He was not poor. His surname is Poor. So Henry Poor was the first person who understood this requirement and he started doing this work. Right? He started doing this work. He has created a profile of various companies and he started doing the ratings. What is your rating in terms of how much money you are borrowing and when and how much you have repaid, what is the balance sheet of your company, all these things he started doing on that basis, right? And gradually it became a systematic business and Mr. Poor have collaborated with the Standard Company and it is known as a Standard and Poor rating agency, right? Similarly, Fitch and other rating agencies, they have started their business, right, in the USA, and from USA it is recognized in the European countries also. And initially means from 1930 onwards, 1930, not 1930, 1935 onwards, after the Keynesian revolution. After the Keynesian revolution, what is Keynesian revolution? Those who are not able to understand, don't worry. Later on, I will explain. But right now, you just understand that after the Keynesian revolution, the industrial development in the Western countries went with the rapid pace, especially after the Second World War. Especially after the Second World War, 1945 started in 1935, but it was getting a rapid pace from 1945 onwards. So if industries are going to get a rapid development, they need more and more funds. So again, the more and more fund, again there is a requirement of more and more standard and credible ratings, right? You have seen that in many times shops, right, especially in the north, right, especially in the north, दे रोड की पुरानी दिल्ली के मशहूर छोले भटूरे, पुरानी दिल्ली के मशहूर छोले भटूरे और पुरानी दिल्ली का हमारी और कोई ब्रांच नहीं है. Such kind of statement you can find on the banners of a company. They sometimes mention since 1948 or since 1929 we are in the service. Why they mention कि we are in, and even I have seen that, Prachin Mandir. It is written there, Prachin Mandir. Why you want to mention it as a Prachin Mandir? And some people are interested. Okay, it's an old temple, right? It's an old temple. That's why we have to visit there. Religious place, whatever it is, mandir, masjid, church, whatever. It doesn't matter how much old it is. It is a matter of faith, right? Old doesn't mean that na ki you are going to get more blessings from there. It's not like that. But people generally visit to those places, and for the advertisement they write it there, ki Prachin Mandir, right? It is having a historical significance. It is there for long time, 700 years or 800 years or even 1000 years, right? It's a historical significance, but historical significance and matter of faith is a two different thing. If I am the devotee of Lord Shiva, so even if I will found the Lord Shiva shivling at any place, I have the same devotion. I must have the same devotion. If you went to any religious place, you follow your own god, right? So it doesn't matter where it is, right? It's a matter of faith. But people get attracted. Oh, it's an old one, right? So old one means what? More credibility. What is the second thing when you will see the old, right? The credibility is what? Credibility is, okay, it's old, that means it is more credible, right? So similarly, these rating agencies, big three, they started their business in 20th century, and that is why they have more credibility, right? So rating, credit rating means what? Credibility. What credibility do you have? So what is the essence of credit rating? The essence of credit rating is the credibility. What kind of the credibility do you have? So this is the essence of doing the credit rating. And both borrower and lender, both borrower and lender need a kind of credibility. If I am going to borrow 50 crores, right, not in one stretch but in four stages, right? Four stages I am going to borrow this 50 crore rupees, 12.5, 12.5 and 12.5, four stages, and I am the borrower A and lender is B. So I just want to get some assurance that B must have the credibility to provide me 12.5 crore, 12.5 crore, 12.5 crore, again 12.5 crore in the four stretch. It should not be like that after two payments, means after two successive borrowing from him, 12.5, 12.5, he said that sorry, I cannot lend you further. I'm sorry. So if he is going to say that, it is going to create a lot of problem for me. So both borrower and lender need a kind of credibility against themselves, right? And if you are more credible, I have given you the example of what? I have given you example of Prachin temple. More people will visit, right? More people will visit there. So you can put your terms and conditions. You can put your own terms and conditions. So for example, if borrower who is going to borrow the money, if he is having very good credibility, he's having very good credibility. So a lot of people, like A is having very good credibility in the market because he always repay money on the time. Whatever the amount he has borrowed, he always paid his money on time, right? And his company is doing very well. So lot of people who want to lend the money will be interested to lend the money to A. Many people will be interested because you know that that person is very credible and you are going to definitely get return of your money with interest. So a lot of people are going to be interested in what? To lend the money to you. Fine. So if lot of people are interested, that means you can negotiate and you can borrow the money on low interest rate. So that is why the borrower is having the more interest in their good credit rating. Similarly, a B is a person who is a lender. So lender always having this thing in mind that my money should not be on risk, right? Or if it is on risk, it should be the minimum risk. So that's why he also want credit rating properly. So that's why they hire the independent agency, and those independent agency must show their credibility. We are doing this work in the highest credible manner, right? And whenever you are going to say, I am trying to do in the highest credible manner, definitely some sort of the criticism you must have to face, right? So if you are doing the credit rating, you are definitely going to face certain kind of the criticism, because maybe some persons are not going to happy with the methodology, some persons are not going to happy with your assessments, right? So criticism will be definitely there, but these criticisms are individual specific, situation specific, right? So that is not a point of discussion कि there are the criticism or biasness in the credit rating. I see the biasness, maybe other person is not looking at this biasness, right? And if I am claiming that certain companies or certain rating agencies are biased against me, right? So first we must have to look why they are ignoring us, right? Or why they are not giving the good rating. They have given the reasons. For example, in the case of India, India always claim that these rating agencies are a little bit biased toward the developed countries, right? And they are not biased, means they are biased against, means they are favoring the developed countries and they are not giving the optimistic rating to the developing economy like India. But those rating agencies have their own point. They said that a few things India must have to improve. For example, India's dependence on the crude oil, right? India's dependence on the crude oil which India imports. So that is always put your economy on the risk, right? Suppose that there is a major war in the Gulf countries right now. Ukraine and Russian crisis is already going on, and if there will be the major conflict in the Middle Eastern part, means the Western Asia, then your economy is not able to sustain for the longer duration. There will be panic under the situation. So you are not very stable. So they provide the reasons, right? But those reasons may be rejected by the government of India. So there is some biasness allegations against the credit rating agencies are there. And to make them better, they must follow certain rules and regulations, right? Especially in India, RBI and SEBI, right? Basically, SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India, they have set up the guidelines under the act. These are the certain guidelines you must follow for doing the rating. Similarly, in the US they also have set the guidelines. These are the things you must have to follow, right? So in this way, credit rating will go on. But I hope you got the understanding of why the credit rating is very important, right? Why the credit rating is very important. Okay. Any questions? If no, then at global level, at global level, if I'll say at global level, S&P, S&P, Standard and Poor, Fitch, and Moody's, right? These are known as Big Three. They are called as Big Three. Though China have its own kind of the system doing the credit rating, right? But they are the Big Three, and they do the rating for companies as well as countries. So means of whom rating can be done. One is individuals credit rating. Second is companies credit rating. Then countries credit rating. So these three come under the category of what? These three come under the category of credit rating. So Standard and Poor, Fitch and Moody's, they go for companies as well as countries. So it's simple. It's very simple. If your credit rating is high, then you can get the loan at cheap interest rate. If your credit rating is low, then definitely you have to pay more interest in order to borrow, right? For countries, it is not just limited to lending and borrowing, right? It is not just related to lending and borrowing, it is also related to investments, right? Investments also. So if your rating is high, especially for the developed countries, if their rating is going to improve or its rating is getting better and better day by day, then definitely you will be more attractive destination for the foreign investors, right? Because rating is improving, that means country's financial profile is increasing, and if I will put my money there, definitely I can make more money. So investments in terms of both FDI and FIA investments, both are going to increase. So that is why countries are interested in their credit rating. Okay, what kind of the credit rating we do have, right? So Standard and Poor, Fitch and Moody's, they provide the credit rating agencies. Generally, there is no question from there, generally. But if there is any remarkable change in any of these three, Fitch, Standard and Poor, and Moody's, they are going to make a big statement or radical change, then maybe it can be asked in the exam. Generally, there will be no question, right? Generally, there will be no question. But if they have changed their stance, right? Change their stance. For example, S&P, Standard and Poor, they always have hawkish. They are hawkish against Indian bond market. Indian bond market means where the Indian government and private companies are borrowing money, right? So they have always a hawkish, means they are not very optimistic about that. They feel that the bond market is not working properly in India. But recently they have changed the rating. Suppose the Standard and Poor changed the rating of the bond market, and they have upgraded the upgraded their rating regarding Indian bond market, and they said that in last few years there is a remarkable change, and that's why we are increasing the rating of Indian bond market, right? Then it may be asked, because they have changed their instance. Earlier they have the hawkish attitude. Hawkish means that they are not optimistic, they are pessimistic, right? Even a small mistake made by you, like the topper and backbencher, right? So topper, if he is going to make a small kind of the mistake, maybe it can be tolerated by the teacher and the school management. And if the backbencher is going to make a mistake, it will maybe a big issue, right? So similarly, if you are going to change the stance, right, then maybe it can come in the exam, right? So it's very important, whenever such kind of the news will come, don't go by this key. Earlier the rating was triple A minus, now it is triple A, or it is triple A plus, or triple B minus, then triple B plus, or triple B. So every company, they have their own way of doing the rating, right? So such kind of the rating is not going to be asked by any generally exams. They will not ask कि बताओ इंडिया का rating क्या है, according to Standard and Poor India's rating is triple B minus or triple B plus or it's triple B, right? They are not going to ask until unless there is, I told you, until unless there is a significant change in the stance of rating agencies. See, why I'm emphasizing on this, because rating is being done on certain parameters. Your rating is being done on certain parameters, and I was following that parameter continuously since beginning. Now I'm changing the parameter because of your exceptional performance. I'm changing my parameter against you, right? So this is the remarkable change. That is remarkable change, and it is going to create a huge impact in the near future. So that is why in such case, maybe there will be a question. Otherwise, there will be no kind of the question, what is triple A, triple B, triple B, triple C, such kind of the questions they are not going to ask. But yes, it is the highest rating by any agency, triple A plus, that is the highest rating. Okay, clear? Any questions? If no questions, then we will move to the credit rating in India. Right. So in India, credit rating agencies, credit worthiness of organizations and different entities. So credit rating agencies assess the credit worthiness organization and different entities in India. In the simple words, agencies are analyzing the debtors' ability to repay the debt, and also rate their credit risk. Right. Credit risk. What is the credit risk? I will explain. I'll explain what is the credit risk. Credit rating agencies in India are regulated by SEBI. So who do the regulations? It is SEBI, not RBI. Credit rating agencies regulations 1999 of the Securities and Exchange Board of India Act 1992. So this gives the statutory power to SEBI to regulate the credit rating agencies in India. Because this credit rating, this credit rating, this credit rating is not only work only for money market, it also work for capital market, right? And the size and amount of money is being flown in the capital market is huge and bigger than money market, right? So that credit rating agency is done for both, but it is going to play a very important and crucial role in the capital market. In money market, RBI has put this condition. RBI has put this condition. What RBI has put the condition for certain instruments like commercial papers, certificate of deposits, right, and commercial bills. If any entity want to raise this commercial papers, certificate of deposit, or commercial bill, which I'm going to explain after this, right? So you must have what? All these are the instrument of the money market, and for that you must be proper credit rated by the credit rating companies, right? So in the money market, the obligation was put forward by the RBI. Why? They said that you must have the credit rating. And what is the methodology should be opted by the credit rating agencies in India and their regulations? That is decided by whom? That is decided by the SEBI, right? So how this credit rating agencies have an impact from RBI? They are controlled by whom? They are controlled by whom? They are controlled by SEBI. So question arises ki how RBI have an impact on the credit rating agencies? RBI have impact on entire financial system because RBI have to provide and create a detailed report about each and everything, right? So each and everything, RBI have to create a detailed report about the Indian financial system and in consultation with the Reserve Bank, Government of India. So this condition put forward by whom? This condition put forward by RBI. What condition? Condition, if you want to issue commercial paper, certificate of deposit, or commercial bill, you must go for credit rating from credit rating agencies in India. Who made this condition? Condition was made by whom? RBI, right? And who is regulating these agencies? SEBI. But what if RBI will say that you do not need any credit rating agency in order to issue the CP, CD, and CB, right? Then the role of this credit rating agency, especially in the money market, is going to be irrelevant. However, there is no possibility, but in that way, RBI can influence the functioning of credit rating agencies also. In his annual report, if RBI is going to question the working of the credit rating agency, then maybe there will be a response from the government of India towards the SEBI. You have to work more, right? What I am trying to make you understand when we talk about what? When we talk about financial market, don't see SEBI as a boss, right? SEBI is not a boss, right? Boss is always whom? Reserve Bank of India. For time being, Reserve Bank of India has delegated those powers or kind of the thing. Okay, you can supervise, you can do everything. But ultimately, if something is going to wrong, it is RBI is going to take the things in consultation with the Ministry of Finance. So the regulatory power of the SEBI is wide and they are free in their domain, but their domain is limited in itself, right? So RBI having more power, more legitimacy, and their voice is more be listened by the government of India rather than SEBI. I have seen many times SEBI has raised the issue, but government has ignored. But when the same issue is raised by the RBI, government has taken the swift action, right? So in that context, you keep this thing in mind. Okay, financial system is working, and RBI has put one agency, that is SEBI. Sometimes SEBI try to put themselves at par with the RBI. Fine, that is good for them, but it's not possible to be put themselves at par with the RBI, right? So just giving the clarity, because sometimes students get confused. So that is why I was just giving the clarity, right? So SEBI manages this credit rating agencies in India, and there are total 7 credit rating agencies in India at present. That is CRISIL, CARE, ICRA, SMERREA, Bricksworks Rating, and India Rating, and Research and Private Limited. Right. So these are the credit rating agencies in India. How credit rating agencies work? Credit rating agencies assign rating to an organization or entity. The entity are rated by the rating agencies comprise companies, state governments, non-profit organization, countries, securities, special purpose entities, and local government bodies. Right. So it is not just related to what? It is not just related to what I told you, individual, company, and country. Right. Company and country. Here in India, the credit rating agencies will oversee the state government, non-profit organization, countries, securities, special entities, and local government body. This is what? This is the classic Indian nonsense, right? This is classic Indian nonsense, because classic Indian nonsense, for example, the great fat Indian wedding, right? More than 200 people to 50 people are being invited from the both side, right? And 60-70% you are unaware ki who is he, and they are also unaware who is the guy who is getting married, right? They are unaware. They just went there to fulfill their obligation, because that guy has given the card to me at the time of wedding, so I am giving the card to him. So in the most of the time, whenever the wedding cards are going to be circulated in the family, so the most important consideration is what? Whether they have invited us or not. We do know them, how helpful they are for me, or how socially connected they are with us. That is not a consideration. The important consideration is ki, okay, he invited me, that's why I'm inviting you, right? So this is utter nonsense criteria in India, but people want to show off. That's why they go for unnecessary spending, right? And everyone is a victim of that thing, because people say that I will not do this thing, but when it's come to on their own, they will go for it, because it's a kind of social status. So similarly, we want to create a legitimacy for the credit rating agency in India. So we have assigned them ki you cannot just go for what? Companies and government. You can go for local government bodies, non-profit organization, countries, right? Special purpose entities. It is not going to required, right? There is no requirement, because people are not going to see your ratings. People are not going to see your ratings for that purpose. When state government need a fund, it is RBI is going to provide the fund to them. Their rating doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It is not going to have any impact. But still you have to rate them. Non-profitable organizations. Non-profitable organizations. So rating for what? For what purpose you are doing the rating? They do not have any kind of the explanation ki how the rating is going to impact the functioning of non-profitable organizations. They do not have any kind of the explanation in this regard. Similarly, for the local government bodies, yes, sometimes local government bodies raise the fund through the borrowings. They raise the fund through borrowings. Similarly, non-profitable organizations, they also raise the fund through borrowings. But while they are borrowing, their credit rating is not going to work there, because most of the time they are borrowing from whom? They are borrowing from All India financial institutions, and they are under certain obligations to lend them. For example, priority sector lending. Okay. Under the priority sector lending, if you have to lend the money for any self-help group which is promoted by what? Local government bodies. There is a small self-help group, SHG, and that is promoted by what? Local government, right? And for that, local government need what? Funds. They need funds, and for that funds, they are issuing what? Securities, right? And that securities under the priority sector lending, that will come. So whatever the credit rating you have, the local government have what kind of the credit rating they do have, it doesn't matter, because banks are bound under the priority sector lending. So in that area, in their area of the bank must have to go for it. So their credit rating is going to be nonsense, but still you have to go for it. And what means explanation you are going, maybe it is not working right now, but maybe it will work in the future. अरे भाई जब future में work करेगा तब introduce करना ना. Why you are unnecessarily creating an unnecessary nonsense work? It is not required right now, but है तो है, means it's there, so we have to go for it, right? So this is why. So in India they do all this credit rating work, right? Nonsense things frustrate me a lot. Credit rating agencies taken into the consideration of the several factors like financial statement, level and type of debt, lending and borrowing history, ability to repay the debt, and past debt entity before rating their credit. So those people who want to know what are the things they have to focus for doing the rating. The financial statement means profit loss annual statement given by the company. Level and type of debt. You have short term debt or the long term debt on you, and what is the level of the amount you have borrowed, lending and borrowing history. How many times you have borrowed since you have started your business, and what is the ability of repaying the debt. What is the ability of repaying the debt? Past debit entities before rating their credit. So past debt, each and everything. These things are important for doing the credit rating. See, this topic is not going to have a big impact, but still we must know. That's why छोड़ने की जरूरत नहीं है. We can go for it. Okay. Rating there. Once the rating agency rates the entity, it provides the additional input to the investor, following which the investor analyze and take a sound investment decision. Right. Poor rating indicates that the entity is on high risk of default. Credit rating that are given to the entities several benchmarks for the financial market regulation. Standard and credit rating are published agency like Moody's Investor Services, Standard and Poor Investor Services based on the debt analysis. So, see, they do two things. One, they will do the credit rating. They will give you the credit rating, and they will also provide analysis. So first they will do the rating, and on the basis of rating they will give you the analysis, and on the basis of that analysis, suppose that I am an investor, right? I am an investor and I am having some amount of money, for example, whatever the amount, I am the foreign investor and I am looking for investment in India. I want to purchase few securities in the Indian capital market or Indian money market, but before putting my money, investor have $10 billion. He have $10 billion and he want to invest in Indian money market, right? So in the Indian money market, he want to spend $10 million, but before going for this such a huge amount of investment, he's looking invest $10 billion over 10 years. Over 10 years, he want to invest $10 billion. He have this plan. So he want to enter in the Indian money market. So before entering in the money market, he will contact the credit rating agency, and he will also look over the analysis of different companies and different profiles, where we have to invest, how much money we have to invest, it is right time or not. So all these things will come under the analysis. This is your rating. This is your rating. ठीक है. For example, in Sholay, Amitabh Bachchan was giving the credit rating about what? Credit rating about धर्मेंद्र कि मौसी क्या बताएं. ठीक है. So he was doing two things. He said that he is a good guy, right? So that is a good guy, but he was also doing the analysis also कि अच्छा लड़का है लेकिन कभी कभी शराब पी लेता है. ठीक है. तो शराब पी लेता है तो फिर गांजा भी मार लेता है. तो मीन्स ही इज अ गुड गाय, बट समटाइम्स ही डू सम nonsense things or wrong things. So analysis part is what? Analysis part is ki overall performance is good, but sometimes there is a fluctuation, especially at that point of time. If the global market or the oil prices are rising, in that situation maybe that company is not going to perform well. Different case, whatever the up and down in the international financial market or the crude oil market, there is no severe impact on this company's profile. So this is one analysis saying that ki whatever the war is going at global level between Russia and Ukraine, it is not going to impact this company's credit profiling. This is one analysis. Another analysis saying that the company is good, but there is a huge risk to invest in this company right now because it's having the severe impact. Right. Suppose that that company is manufacturing engines. Right. Companies manufacturing gas turbine engines. Right. So companies producing the gas turbine engine in India, and those gas turbines engines are being produced by the Indian firm in collaboration with the Ukrainian firm. Right. So definitely, if you are going to put money in that Indian firm which is manufacturing the gas turbine engines in collaboration with the Ukrainian firm, you are going to lose your money because Ukraine's all these gas turbine companies, their production facilities were destroyed by the Russia and the airstrike. So they are not able to provide the critical equipments and other parts of the gas turbine engine, right? And it is going to create a huge problem for this company in India. So if you are going to put your money in that company right now, it is going to create a huge problem for you. Company is good, performing better, but right now it is not right time to invest. So this is all about the analysis. Clear? So nothing more means now there are 7 credit rating agencies in India. Even if you just know the name, that is sufficient, right? So that is sufficient. So there is no need to go further and reading all this information. I will send this PDF after the class on the Telegram group. You can have that one, but there is no need to read about them. The only thing you have to keep in your mind ki acha bhai, in India there are the credit rating agencies, and there are 7 credit rating agencies, and prominent one is what? This Crystal Care, ICRA, Crystal Care and ICRA, right? SMERA, these are the 4 agencies you must keep in your mind. When question can be asked, when these rating agencies are going to do what? They are going to rate something, and that is going to become a big news, right? So until unless they are going to some blistering kind of information which is going to create a lot of buzz or something related to that agency, some, for example, there is some scam in the kind of rating, only then they will come in the news and then they will come in the question paper. Otherwise there is a less possibility they are going to ask questions from this area. Okay. So CRISIL is the oldest rating agency in India. It was launched in 1987. Right. So oldest कौन है? Oldest is CRISIL. ICRA Limited is a public limited company set up in 1991 in Gurgaon. Right. Nothing more important than that. CARE was launched in 1993. Right. BRICS work. Then India Rating Agencies. India Rating Agencies is wholly owned subsidiary of Fitch Group. Acquired Rating, full services credit rating agency registered with the Security and Exchange Board of India. Company received the RBI accreditation on external credit assessment for the bank loans and norms 2 in 2012. Right, to some kind of the medal given by the RBI to them. Information Valuation and Rating Private Agencies, right? RBI accredited, SEBI registered. Okay, so nothing like very important from here. Just have the idea of the credit rating, right? Credit rating itself is not important. Credit rating is important for other things, right? So any doubt or any question in your mind? If you have, let me know, or I will move to what? I will move to other thing. Okay. So money market, here there are instruments like T-bills, CMBs, call and notice borrowings. Here basically it is for what? It is related to government, banks, right? Government, banks and RBI, right? So generally it is related to this part. Whereas money market have other instruments like commercial papers, right? Then certificate of deposit, then commercial bills and collateralized borrowing and lending obligation, CBLO, right? Collateralized borrowing. So these instruments, I said these instruments, T-bills, CMBs, call and notice borrowing, they are more related to what? Banks, government, banks and RBI. However, these instruments, they not only include banks. Here you will not find the government's participation. Government is not a party here, right? Here you will find the participants, banks, all India financial institutions, all India financial institutions, corporates, individuals, NRIs, right? So all these are participants here. So it is a kind of bigger part of money market in terms of participation, right? In terms of participation, there are more number of participants here. Acha, I'm going to write one term. Can you let me know what is the meaning of this term? Primary dealers. Anyone can tell me right now what is the primary dealer? Sir, High Marks and TransUnion Sibyl are also credit rating agencies. They have very limited credit rating work, right? Especially for the individual's credit rating, right? So they have very limited work. They are kind of what, subcontractors. They do not come under the proper category of doing this thing, right? Credit rating, see, credit rating for the market and credit rating for the banks, right? Bank also go for the CIBIL rating, right? So that is a different thing. Doing the credit rating at bank, right? Bank go for the credit rating only for the purpose of credit risk, to assess the credit risk. If you are asking 50 lakh rupees loan, right? So you are asking for the 50 lakh rupees loan, and now bank want to see what risk is involved with you, right? What risk is involved with you? So they will take the help of certain agencies who are going to assess your CIBIL, right? The rating. So that is rating, yes, but they are not proper rating agencies like this one, the 7 one which I have mentioned here, who are indulged in for the first time. Mohit is saying that banks are means, it doesn't mean that ki only banks are primary dealers. Banks are also primary dealer. Bank may be a primary dealer, but what I'm asking you, ki what do you understand by the primary dealer? First time purchase in the money market instrument. Like it was news, RBI gave a license to ICC for. There are some entities who sell or purchase on the behalf of RBI. Selling and purchasing. Okay. Have you ever heard this name, ICICI Securities? So generally now the banks are universal banks, right? They are universal banks means they are indulged in the diversified functions. They are indulged in the diversified functions. They provide the insurance services. They provide uh, mutual fund services. They provide the deposit services. All these things they are providing under one roof. That's why they are known as what they are known as a universal bank, right? But ICICI Industrial Credit Information Company of India Limited, that is ICICI, ICICI is what? ICICI is a group, right? And they have various companies, and one company is known as ICICI Bank Limited, and one is ICICI Securities. So, what is the profile of our ICICI Securities? ICICI Securities is going to sell. They are involved in the selling and purchasing of securities business. So they are not going to open the bank account like current account and saving accounts. They provide the FD services. No, they are only involved in the business of what? They are only involved in the business of selling and purchasing of the securities, right? So this is what sometimes we do have a company like securities, like ICC Securities, HDFC Securities, right? Similarly, if I'll tell you, I told you there is two market, money market and capital market, right? And both have primary market and secondary market. Similarly here, primary market and secondary market. So when a company is being allowed, what is the primary market? It is a market of new securities. New securities. New securities means what? A company A need funds, right? They need funds for working requirement and long-term requirement. For long-term requirement, they will go to where? Capital market. For long-term requirement, they will go to the capital market, and for working requirement, they will go to the money market. In money market, you can raise what? Money by issuing debt securities. In capital market, there are two possibilities, either debt securities or equity. You can raise money by both, either through debt securities or through equity securities. Means you can sell your equity or you can borrow, but in the money market only borrowing is allowed because you are raising the money for working requirement. You are raising the money for working requirement. If you want to raise the money for working requirement by selling your equity, what worth you have? You do not have any worth. Means selling the equity is a big thing, na? Selling equity shares of your company is a big thing. So you are selling the shares of your company to fulfill your working requirement. That means you are in the very bad condition, right? So nobody is going to purchase your equity because you are in such a low financial condition ki you have to sell the securities in order to run your business on daily basis. So that's why this market do not have the market of what? The equity. It is the only market of what? Debt market, right? So when you are issuing your securities first time or every time you are going to issue. So suppose that A want loan of 10 lakh on 17th March. So they issued some securities. Again they need 20 lakhs. So they again issued the securities here in the money market. So the securities of 10 lakh and 20 lakh, first they will be issued in the primary market, right? So primary market, suppose that B has purchased this security. Total he hold 30 lakh rupees securities. He is holding the 30 lakh rupees securities, but he want money right now, and that's why he is ready to sell those securities of having the worth 30 lakh. Then that security will enter into the secondary market, right? Some students get confused कि primary market is a market of only first time. No, it's not a first time. It is a market of newly issued securities. I am first time borrowing the money from the market, right? So I will go to the money market and I will borrow the money. First time. Before that, I have never borrowed. I have never borrowed. First time I'm going to borrow, that is 10 lakh rupees from the money market, right? So it will be the part of primary market. Again I need how much? Again I need 20 lakhs. So again where I will go? Again I will go to the primary market, right? So when the securities are being issued, right, they are issued in the primary market and then they will trade off in the secondary market, right? So secondary market will develop only when to whom you have sold your securities in order to borrow the loan. So I have sold my securities to you, to all live student, right? I have sold my securities to you, right? First time today I have sold my securities to you. Now you can hold it or you can put in the our telegram group and you can say that if somebody is interested they can purchase it, right? So the telegram group is a secondary market, you and I is a primary market, right? अब इससे और आसानी से नहीं समझा सकता हूं right? So whenever I will ask money, I will borrow money from you, so you guys are what? You guys are primary market. So I have promised you that I will return that money on certain date. After 6 months, I will return the money, right? And I have given my security to you. So all of you are the part of primary market. But some of you want money even before 6 months. So you went to the Telegram group market, and you said that okay, I am having this security and it is going to mature at this point of time, but I need money immediately, so I'm ready to sell it off at this price. Whosoever is interested can directly ping it to me. So that telegram group is going to be what? It is going to be the secondary market. So it's not like that ki first time I went to you, only then it will be primary market. No, every time it will be the primary market. Whenever I will ask the loan, it is the primary market. And then you can sold in the secondary market. Now here only few and credit worthy are being allowed to be the part of this market. Only few and credit worthy are being allowed to be the part of this primary market, and they are known as primary dealers. However, this term in India, in Indian context, the primary dealer term is used for initially government securities. Means those companies who are having the ability to purchase government securities, because government is not going to borrow the 10 rupees, 20 rupees, they are going to borrow 4,000 crore, 8,000 crore, 10,000 crore. So the person who is going to part of that market, he must have the kind of the ability to lend the money of 10,000 crore or 5,000 crore or 6,000 crore or 20,000 crore. So that's why that status was being given as a primary dealer. So if you are a primary dealer, means you can directly participate in the primary market. However, why the primary dealer definition is getting diluted? Because right now even the individuals are also allowed to participate in the government securities market through RBI scheme, right? Direct retail scheme, individuals are also allowed. So as an individual, you can participate in the primary market, right? As an individual, you can also participate in the primary market. But it doesn't mean that you become a primary dealer. You can become a primary dealer only when RBI will certify you as a primary dealer. So one is RBI has allowed you. RBI has allowed you. You can also participate in the primary market. That is allowed by the RBI through direct retail scheme. But it doesn't mean that automatically you will get the status of what? Primary dealer. You will get the status of primary dealer only when it will be certified by the RBI, and RBI will certify you as a primary dealer only when you have a worth to lend the money in bulk, right? in bulk, only then you will be certified as a primary dealer, right? I hope it's clear right now. Jyoti, this A must be bank or government or the financial institutions in the money market. Yes. For example, like A, if go, okay, that A. So primary dealers does not exist in the capital market. No, 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 no. They also exist in the capital market. Also, they can go in the capital market also. They can go in the capital market also. It's not like that they cannot go in the capital market. They can also participate in the capital market. They can also participate in the capital market. Primary dealer is a kind of status. Primary dealer is a kind of status given by the RBI because you have an ability to absorb even bigger requirements. The biggest requirement होता है ना ग्रुप में एक कि भाई ये सब खा लेगा. He is having a kind of appetite. He is having this appetite. Or sometimes in a group we have a kind of भाई यही finance करेगा. He is going to finance. He is having the ability. So in common we have one specific individual who have an extraordinary ability, right? So once you have an extraordinary ability, right, to absorb the securities in the market, right, then you will get the status of what? Primary dealer. अभी क्लियर है ना प्राइमरी डीलर एंड प्राइमरी मार्केट? ठीक है, प्राइमरी डीलर एंड प्राइमरी मार्केट. आई होप द बोथ थिंग्स आर क्लियर. Where you are confused? Sir, for example, if A, okay. For example, if like A go to another borrowing of 10 lakh in the money market without raising the securities. Without raising a security, who will lend you the money? Tell me. Who will lend you the money? In the money market, if you are not going to issue the security, who is going to lend you? Nobody is going to lend without the security. So you have to issue the security in order to borrow the money, right? In order to borrow the money, you have to issue the security, and where you are going to issue the security, that is the primary market of the money market. Okay. So primary market is clear. Now I am moving towards what? I am moving towards this commercial paper. What is commercial paper? Commercial paper is unsecured money market instrument. Unsecured money market instrument means what? Unsecured money market instrument means when you will issue the commercial paper, you need not to put the collateral, right? So there is no need to put the collateral against the commercial paper. Okay. In the form of promissory note. CP was introduced in India in 1990. RBI have issued with the view of enabling highly rated corporate borrowers to diversify their source of short-term borrowings and provide an additional instrument to the investors. Means what? Earlier corporates like big companies, they can borrow money from whom? Banks only. But RBI said that okay, apart from bank, you can borrow from normal people also. For that, you can use the instrument of what? Commercial papers. So in that order, they have introduced the commercial papers. Guidelines for issue of commercial paper presently governed by the various directives issued by the Reserve Bank of India. What are the terms and conditions to issue the commercial paper? That is guided by the Reserve Bank of India guideline on to time basis. To keep the pace with the several development in the financial market, it is being decided to modify the guidelines in the light of recommendation made by the internal group. Right. So in 2001, after 10 years, they have made certain changes in the terms and conditions related to commercial paper. Who can issue the commercial paper? First of all, what is commercial paper? It is a paper through which you can borrow the money. On this paper, you can make a commitment कि I am going to borrow. For example, you need 10 lakh rupees and you are ready to pay the interest of 10%. So you are going to make a paper of 11 lakh rupees, right? 11 lakh rupees, you have made the paper and you said that कि I will return the money 11 lakh rupees, right? And you are issuing at the discount of 1 lakh. You are issuing this paper at the discount of how much? अरे आजा भाई 1 lakh. So it is a kind of commercial paper. How it can be issued? The highly rated corporate borrowers. Highly rated. So highly rate कौन करेगा आपको? Who is going to highly rate you? That is credit rating agencies, primary dealers, satellite dealers. Who are the satellite dealers? I explained you the primary dealers. Who are the satellite dealers? Answer. Raj Anand, your confusion is clear or not? Raj, your doubt is clear, and let me know what is the satellite dealers. On the basis of understanding of this primary dealer, can you guess who is a satellite dealer? सर्च करके मत बताना, just try to means find it, figure it out. Just try to figure it out. अरे कोई तो आंसर करो. Okay. I said primary dealers are those who get the status of being a primary dealer and they are being involved in the high value transactions in the primary market, right? And they are being certified by the Reserve Bank of India. Sometimes what happen ki even these primary dealers who are involved in that activity, they have the shortage of what? They have the shortage of funds, right? The shortage of the funds, and that shortage of the fund at that point of time, they go to certain entities, and from that entities they take the money for investing in the primary market, right? So that's why they are known as satellite. There is a earth, that is why there is a moon, right? So the moon's movement is according to the earth's movement, right? So you work Earth is a primary dealer and Moon is a satellite dealer. Means the functioning of the primary dealer is going to along with the whom satellite dealer. So satellite dealer is a kind of dealer who generally do not have an ability to work as a primary dealer. Though at a point of time he can assess the primary dealer in order to fulfill its requirement with respect to the primary market. So that's why they will designate it as a satellite dealers. And like primary dealers, you will be recognized as a satellite dealer by whom? RBI. So those entities who are involved in helping to primary dealers for their trade and commerce in the trade and commerce, not an appropriate word, for their business in the primary market, they are known as satellite dealers. That means what? Means if a primary dealer need a finance, they can go to whom? Only satellite dealers, not to anyone. So that is why the satellite dealers are being defined as those dealers who assist the primary dealers while the functioning of primary market by them, that is primary dealer, right? All India financial institutions which have been permitted to raise the resources through the money market instrument under the umbrella limit fixed by the Reserve Bank of India. So who can issue? Means who can issue? It can be issued by whom? It can be issued by a highly rated corporate, PD, SD, all India financial institutions, right? They are being allowed to issue this, right? A company, that means corporate, a company shall be eligible to issue CP provided. Means if you are a corporate, if you are a primary dealer, satellite dealer, all India's financial institutions, there is a normal guidelines for you. But if you are a corporate, if you are a company, right? So there are the certain terms and conditions for you. The tangible net worth of a company as per the latest audited balance sheet is not less than 4 crores. Right. So your balance sheet must have the 4 crores. The working capital fund, the limit of a company for a banking system is not less than 4 crores. And the borrower account of a company is classified as a standard asset by the financing bank. So bank will play an important role, right? So here bank will play an important role. See the irony. What is written here? It is written here, with a view to enabling highly rated corporate borrowers to diversify their sources of short-term borrowing and to provide an additional instrument to the investors. So you have to diversify your borrowings, short-term borrowings. Your short-term borrowings are highly concentrated towards whom? Your borrowings were highly concentrated towards the banks. And for that, you should not just go to banks only. You can go for commercial papers, right? You can go for the commercial papers. This is the purpose they have introduced. But you can see that here the terms and conditions, for a company to issue a CP, what here bank is playing the role, here the bank is playing the role. So audit is a different kind of the thing, but the two other conditions, the working capital limit of a company from banking system is not less than 4 crore. Again, here the bank is playing the role. So even to issue the CP by a corporate, they need what? They need kind of the proper approval by the bank. So you went to the bank and bank is saying that there is what is the need to go there? I will finance you. So one of the hurdle why the corporate bond market is not able to flourish, because some statutory requirements for this corporate bond instruments like CPs. corporate bond instruments like CP, to issue the CP commercial paper, companies or corporates have to go to the bank, right? Have to go to the bank, and bank itself doing the financing activities, right? So bank will ask them ki you should follow this instrument rather than for the commercial papers, right? So this is why despite having diversified instruments, the corporate bond market is not able to flourish in India. One of the reason you can see that. Now people argue that ki, sir, it is required because bank is the most trustworthy. Yes, bank is more trustworthy, but if you want to develop the proper corporate bond market, for that purpose, like you have many agencies, you can create one more agency which is dedicated for doing this work, which bank is going to do for the purpose of issuing of the commercial paper or any other instrument in the money market, right? So that those corporates, they should not go to the bank. It's simple. But hai to hai, we have to follow, right? So these three conditions must be satisfied. Then the rating requirements, as I mentioned you, the rating requirements are required, right? And the maturity of what? Maturity. What is the maturity of CP? The maturity of CP from 15 days to maximum 1 year. The maturity days is holiday. Company will be liable to make the payments on immediately preceding working day. Right. Now the denomination 5 lakh in its multiple. Most probable question from this area is what is the maturity period of commercial paper? Another possible question, in what denomination it can be issued, right? In what denomination it can be issued? Another probable question is who can issue? Who can issue? Corporate borrowers can issue, primary dealers can issue, satellite dealers can issue, all India financial institutions can issue, right? They can issue. Individual can issue. Can an individual can issue this? No, individual cannot issue. Individuals cannot issue. Highly rated corporate borrowers, primary dealers, satellite dealers, all India financial institutions, only they are being allowed, right? An aggregate amount to be raised, aggregate amount 5 lakh in its multiple, then aggregate, and how much total amount you can raise through the CP by a corporate should not exceed the working capital fund base sanctioned by the bank. If banks have sanctioned the 10 lakh, bank has sanctioned the 10 lakh, so you can issue only to commercial paper. So question can be twisted in this way. If a bank, if a corporate, if a XYZ company, have sanctioned working capital of 50 lakh, right? 50 lakh. How many CPs can be issued? How many CPs can be issued? So 5 lakhs and in its multiple, right? So total how much? 10 commercial paper that can be issued by whom? That can be issued by this firm. Okay. The aggregate amount of CP issued by the primary dealers SD should not be within the limits fixed by their respective board. So for primary dealer and secondary dealer, the limit is being fixed by whom? The limit is fixed by the board. FI, see who can issue? Who can issue the CP? CP can be issued by corporate. Then it will be issued by PD and SD. Then it is issued by FI. So corporates, what is the condition? Working capital. PD and SD by their board. For FIAs, यहाँ तो चाचा है ही है RBI. RBI is going to fix the issue of CP together with the other instrument with the term money borrowing, term deposits, certificate deposits, intercorporate deposits should not exceed the 100% of their net owned fund. Right. So RBI will fix the limit, how much you can borrow, how much you can borrow under the CP. But again, what they are saying that overall, they apart from the commercial papers, they are the other instruments, right? They are the other instruments through which you can borrow. So what RBI is clarifying, ki we will define the fixed limit. An FIA can issue the commercial paper within the overall umbrella limit fixed by the RBI. So RBI has fixed that ki 100% of its net owned fund. Suppose that a FIA have the fund of how much? FIA have the fund of 1000 crores. FI have a fund of 1000 crores, so it is like that 1000 crores, and they already issued how much? They already issued term deposit, certificate deposit, interbanking corporate deposit, right? They already issued all these things, right? They already issued all these things having 990 crores. So how much is left? 10 crores. So how much maximum they can issue the commercial papers? They can issue the commercial paper worth of 10 crores only, because they already issued 990 crores against the term money borrowing deposit, term deposit, certificate of deposit, and other instruments. So suppose that there are the 5 instruments. Okay, 5 instruments allowed by the RBI through which you can raise the money, right? And this 5 also includes CP. This 5 also includes CP, and with 4 instruments out of 5, you already borrowed 990. Now with the CP, you can borrow only how much? The rest of the thing, because your fund is total of 1000 crores. So what is the total fund value? That is going to decide your ability to raise the money in the money market. By whom? Reserve Bank of India. Right? Now, who can invest? CP may be issued to and held by individuals, banking companies, other corporate bodies, registered or incorporated in India, unincorporated bodies, NRIs, and foreign institutional investors. So FIIs, NRIs, registered corporate entities, non-registered corporate entities, banking companies, individuals, all they can invest. However, the investments of FII should be within the 30% limit set for their investments in the debt instrument. So for foreign institutional investors, there will be a limit of 30% set for their investment in the debt instrument. So there is a limit. FIAs cannot go for whatever the amount. Suppose an FIA, for an institutional investor, he want to invest 100 crore in India. He want to invest 100 crore in India. Then in that case, only 30 crore he can invest in the debt market. Right? Debt market. And he already invested 25 crores. He already invested 25 crore. That means right now he can purchase only up to 5 crore worth CP. Okay, he can purchase only 5 crore worth CP. Okay, this situation is clear. They can issue in the promissory note. CP will be issued on the discount and the face value. Banks and all India institutions are prohibited to underwriting for a co-accepting. Means you cannot co-accept. Means two and three people are not going to kind of ki theek hai, maybe or tum bhi means two three people cannot go for it. A single entity have to take it. Presence of dematerialized form, now it can be issued while option is available for both issue and subscription to issue the CP in the dematerialized or the physical form. It can be in the both form. On the maturity, CP, when the CP is held in the physical form, the holder of CP shall present that instrument for the payment to the issuer through issuing a paying agent. However, when the CP is held in the demat form, the holder of CP will have to get redeemed through the depository and receive the payments from the IPA. Issuing paying agent, right? Issuing and paying agents will be there who are involved for that clearing. Means once it is matured, there is a way to clarify it, right? Though it's too much deep inside, they are not going to supposed to ask such kind of the questions, but for the knowledge we must go through that thing. Basic question from the commercial paper is going to be like that ki what who can issue that commercial papers, number one. Number two, what are the terms and conditions under the commercial papers? Which of the following is not a condition to issue the commercial paper? Another kind of the question will be there. What are the maximum and minimum maturity, right? Denomination, how much amount a FIA can invest in the loan, means in the commercial papers. So such kind of the possible questions will be there. Okay. Any question related to commercial papers? Any question related to commercial papers? Reading from this PDF is most boring part of the teaching. But anyways, whatever, it's boring or not, it's very important to go in each and every part. So okay, now we have to move to CD, Certificate of Deposit. Certificate of Deposit is a fixed income financial instrument governed under the Reserve Bank of India, issued in the dematerialized form, where an amount at withdrawal is assured from the beginning, right? So it is issued in the form of what? Dematerialized form. CD can be issued by all India financial institutions or scheduled commercial banks, right? They are issued at discount provided at the face value, like a fixed deposit. CD's purpose is to denote in writing that you have deposited money in a bank for a fixed period, and that bank will pay you interest on it on the amount and duration of your deposit. Right. So there is a similarity between FD, like bank is issuing the FD. You have given the 10 lakh rupees to the bank and bank has issued a fixed deposit instrument to you. Ki after 1 year, they are going to pay this amount, right, with the interest. Fine. Here in the CD, same thing. Bank can issue, all India financial institutions or scheduled commercial banks. They can issue the certificate of deposit, and against that certificate of deposit, they can borrow the money. Right. So similarity is being here, like ki once the bank is going to issue, or any all India financial institution, bank M, he is going to issue the CD, right? And he is going to borrow 100 crores, right? He is going to borrow the 100 crores at the interest rate of how much? At the interest rate of 5%, right? At the interest rate of 5%. Annual interest rate is 10%. For 6 months he want to borrow, so he will create a what? He will create a certificate of deposit, mentioning that what? Mentioning that its paper is having the worth of 105 crore, and I will repay 105 crore after 6 months. Right? I will pay 105 crore after 6 months. And he sold this paper to whom? Bank N. Right. So bank N is going to discount this paper of 5 crores. He is going to discount this paper. N is going to discount this paper by 5 crores. So if N is going to discount this paper by 5 crore, so the certificate of deposit, CD, who issued the CD? M is issuing the CD to whom? N. So M is issuing the CD to N, and he is issuing the CD at the discount of 5 crore. So M is going to write on the paper ki you are discounting my bill by 5 crores. I obliged to pay 105 crore after 6 months. It must be written on this certificate of deposit. Okay. So in this way, this is going to be issued. But apart from the similarity, there is a difference between what? There is a difference between CD and FD. There is no major difference between the certificate of deposit and the fixed deposit. Fixed deposits are even referred as a CD or a time deposit by certain banks. They come with the same term period, minimum requirements of the deposit, and high interest rates compared to the traditional saving accounts. One difference is that CDs are freely negotiable while FDs are not. You cannot suppose that bank has issued an FD to you, right? Bank has issued an FD to you against the 1 lakh rupees. आपने बैंक में 1 लाख रुपए जमा कराया, you have deposited 1 lakh rupees in the bank, and bank has given the FD to you, FD paper, right? So that FD paper which is issued to you, you cannot transfer to any other person. Bank is not going to accept this, right? That is going to be deposited only in your account, whatever the reason is, right? Whereas CDs are transferable. CDs are transferable. For example, here N hold this certificate of deposit. After 3 months, N believes that I need money right now, then N can trade this CD to any other person. So N is a primary market. N is a part of primary market, but when N is going to sold this thing before the maturity is 6 months, but before the maturity, N is going to sold to O, right? N is going to sold O, then O is a part of secondary market, right? So in this way, that certificate of deposit can be traded. That can be traded. Students ask, sir, there was a CP. Then why there is a need of CD? CP is a kind of instrument, and when CD was introduced, actually CD was introduced earlier. Here the date is not mentioned, right? But it was issued earlier. So CP came as a latest instrument. CD was already available there. But CD has certain limitations. Anyone cannot, like corporates cannot issue the certificate of deposit. Who can issue the certificate of deposit? all India financial institutions and scheduled commercial banks. Even the regional rural bank and cooperative banks are not allowed to issue this CD. Right. See, cooperative banks and RRBs cannot issue the CD. They are not allowed. Okay. यार बहुत boring है ये सब पढ़ाना. I don't know how people are able to do this thing, but it's really. I'm sorry, miss. I'm not trying to discourage, but just sharing my feelings. It's a little bit boring for me to explain through this PDFs and all. Don't take it otherwise. Okay. See, Jyoti is asking private bank, Chetan is asking local area bank. Suppose that these are scheduled commercial banks, right? In the scheduled commercial banks, these are RRBs. These are cooperative banks, right? So you people are not allowed. You people are not allowed, and rest of the people are allowed. So if the local area bank have a status of what? If the local area bank have a status of scheduled commercial bank, right? They can issue. They can issue. But if you do not have a status of scheduled commercial bank, you cannot issue. Right? If you have a status of scheduled commercial bank, but you are a regional rural bank or you are an cooperative bank, you are not allowed. If you are a private bank, if you are any XYZ Tom Dick Harry bank, but you are not a cooperative bank, you are not a regional rural bank, and you have a status of what? You have a status of scheduled commercial banks, then you can issue the certificate of deposit. So the features of CD: minimum deposit is of 1 lakh rupees and in the multiples. For CP, for CP it was 5 lakh. It was 5 lakh and its multiple. For CD, it's 1 lakh. It is 1 lakh. 1 lakh and its multiple. Scheduled commercial banks, all India financial institutions are eligible. Cooperative banks and RRBs are not eligible. CDs are issued by SEBI, have the term deposit anywhere within 3 months to 1 year. If it is issued by scheduled commercial banks, then it should be 3 months to 1 year. Whereas the CD, if it is issued by the financial institutions, have a term period ranging from 1 to 3 years. Right? So maximum validity is what? 3 years. Minimum validity is 3 months. Right? So it's quite little bit what generally the money market instrument is up to 1 year, but here you can see the exception. Up to 3 years is being allowed if it is being issued by financial institutions having the term period ranging from 1 to 3 years. Similar to dematerialized security, CD is dematerialized form and transferable through the means of endorsement or the delivery. Means you can, in the dematerialized form, you can transfer from one to other. There is no lock-in requirement. In FD, there is a lock-in requirement, right? There is a lock-in requirement. You cannot. Sometimes they will say that you cannot unlock this FD. Sometimes they allow you can break, but penalty will be charged. Sometimes they will not allow. Here, there is absolutely no lock-in requirement. One cannot issue loans against the CD, right? So you cannot issue the loan against the CD. Suppose that I am holding your CD, right? So on the basis of that CD, I cannot issue the loan against to you. I already, again, M, he issued the CD to whom? N, right? He issued the CD to N. So N has purchased this CD from M, right? And the CD have the worth of 10 lakh. So now N hold 10 lakh rupees CD and hold the 10 lakh rupees CD. Now what they are saying that one cannot issue the loan against the CD. Means now again M is saying that we need money. M is saying that we need money. Okay, so N cannot give the loan to M against this. He cannot give the loan against this. For example, in the bank, if you are having the fixed deposit, if you have a fixed deposit, against those fixed deposit, bank can sometimes they'll issue the loan against that FD, right? Against that FD, they issue the loan. But this is not in the case for CDs. Against the CDs, you cannot issue because itself is a borrowing instrument. So that CD is raised for the purpose of borrowing. So I'm already raised 10 lakh rupees from N. Again, he cannot say that you have 10 lakh rupees of mine. Means I have taken the 10 lakh rupees, you have the 10 lakh rupees of CD. Then against that, you can give me the loan. It is not possible, right? It is not allowed. It cannot be publicly traded. It cannot be publicly traded means what? This should be traded amongst the banks and financial institutions, right? Who has issued. It cannot be publicly traded. It is means it cannot go to the secondary market in general. Even if it will go to the secondary market, only certain institutions are allowed, like All India Financial Institutions, scheduled commercial banks are being allowed to trade it, not publicly. Individuals are not allowed. I will check if the limit is increased. I will check. There are two major differences between commercial paper and CDs. First, who can issue? A CD can be issued by the financial institutions and banks. Commercial papers can be issued by the primary dealers, large corporations, and all India financial institutions. Second is the difference is the minimum amount of deposit. A certificate of deposit requires an investment of 1 lakh and its multiple. Commercial paper is issued in the investment of 5 lakh rupees and its multiple of 5 lakh rupees therefore. So revise it to 5 lakh. From where you have checked? Yes, it is. Just give me a second. It is 5 lakhs. So here I have to change it. That means this difference is invalid. This difference is invalid. Okay, so this is all about CD. And now apart from CD, what is left? Apart from CD, we have to do this commercial bills, CBLO. These two are left. I will do in the next class. Right. So for CD, the minimum amount will be 5 lakh, not 1 lakh. Right. I have not checked it. I'm sorry for that. I must have to check. Means I will recheck again in future. If I'm going to share any data, I will check it again, because this should not happen. Anyhow, I did the mistake, and I am sorry for that. It should not be done. Means it should not be there. It is 5 lakh, not 1 lakh. I repeat, it is 5 lakh. The minimum amount will be 5 lakh and its multiple, like commercial papers, right? So 5 lakh and its multiple you can issue. The basic thing is what the CDs can be issued by banks and all India financial institutions only. So only limited users are being there. There is a limited market of CD over the CP. If the question is asked which is having the biggest market, CP or CD, the answer is it is CP who have a larger market, because the participants are more in the number, and they are less number of restrictions in the CP in comparison to CD. Basically, it is a kind of what? It is a kind of interbanking requirement for the apart from the call borrowing and notice borrowing, because call borrowing and notice borrowing are limited to how much? Call borrowing and notice borrowings are limited to up to 14 days, right? So apart from that, you can use the CDs from 1 to 3 years requirement. Okay. And thank you, Chetan, for reminding me, is telling this thing to me. Okay, so commercial bills and CBLO I will discuss tomorrow, and after that I will start the capital market. Okay. F bill or CBIL? F bill benchmark I will explain. Tomorrow I will explain. Tomorrow I'll explain. Right now I have to miss. I have some work, so I cannot do it right now. It will take 5 to 10 minutes. I'm already late, so I'll explain it tomorrow. Okay. So thank you.